Hello everyone, how you doing tonight? This is Sheldon from Shell Rock Art. I'm going to be doing a little bit of experimenting today, but I'm going to be doing something a bit different. I'm going to be making some tiles. I will let them dry. If they turn out nice, they'll become skins for some jewelry, or I can peel the skins off and maybe put it in between some glass or something and make a nice little picture, but I don't have to leave it on the tile unless I'm making coasters. But I'm not making a coaster set. I'm doing an experiment, and partly is to show different effects that blooms can have based upon the order of colors that you lay down. So I'm gonna pan the camera out here for a second, and I'm using these colors here. So you see I got some Aqua, some Boysenberry color pigment, some Peacock feather, tempting Tulip, and at the bottom I have key lime, and I have copper, and I have black and white cell activator there. So I'm going to use those to put them in different orders to see how layering them can actually make a difference in what kind of patterns you get when you blow them out to get your cells, okay? So let me grab my straw just in case I need it, and then I'll be right there. All right, so I'm here getting everybody a wave. I've been testing a few things. Got my painted hands, and I have my handy dandy Home Depot test tiles here. You can find these at Home Depot. They're like 4" by 4". They're very soft on the bottom. So if you do make coasters, you don't even have to put a cork lining on the bottom. You just resin the top and you're good. And these are sample pieces that are free. And they have, as I learned from one of my fellow artists, Jennifer Newey of Daisy Art on Instagram, she told me about how once they dry, they easily peel right off like a skin. And so, just for an example, I'm sure I showed these, but these are a few skins that I made. Hopefully they're in camera. Yeah, okay. So these are a few skins that I made. And see, and they're peeled right on off. And you can do these by putting it on the tile, and it peels right off. So that's what I like about these. So let's try a few different techniques on layering the colors. I'm going to be using a white base, Glitter Essentials. I don't have a whole lot in here for a big painting anyway, but this is a good night to do some experimenting with colors and not necessarily recipes. The recipe that I do use when I mix my regular colors, I use the pouring medium that most people use for the bloom technique, which is 1 part, 2 parts, or 3 parts, depending on the person. Some use 3, some use 2. I went for the 2 because it works for me. So I use a 2-to-1 ratio of untinted house paint, Glidden Essentials or Glidden Premium, base C, or sometimes it'll say base 3, but it's the deep base. I use that with 1 part of polyacrylic Minwax varnish, water-based. And if it's not Minwax, then you also have the Varathane triple thick varnish. Both will work. I never tried Joe Sonia. I heard about it, but I just never tried it, so I'm not going to speak on something I never tried before. So that's what I use in my colors, and the colors can be either 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 depending on the actual colors. Like for a 2 paint, I might use 1 part paint and 2 parts pouring medium because the 2 paint has a heavier body, so the volume will stretch. But like craft paints or other paints that may come in little bottles, whatever, and they're not quite as thick or heavy bodied as the 2 paint is, then I'll do a 1-to-1 ratio of paint to pouring medium. Now, as far as my cell activator, it's just simply Amsterdam paint, either the titanium white or the oxide black, and that's mixed with a mixture of Floetrol and a 1/2 part of water. So 2 parts Floetrol and 1/2 part of water with the Amsterdam paint. So that's what I use. Sometimes I use just water just for giggles, but it'll all make cells. Anyway, so let's get started. Oh, and that's American Floetrol, by the way, not Australian. I refuse to spend the money. So let's put down a little bit of the pillow of the Blend Essentials white semi-gloss, and that has a little bit of water in it just to help it flow, but it's not a whole lot. Still got a nice consistency to it. So what am I going to do? Let's try doing one with just the black cell activator, and this is going to give sort of this effect, to where you have dark lacing around some cells that has color. So that's one. So I'm going to use copper, a little bit of the peacock feather, and the tempting tulip. Just those 3 colors and some black cell activator. Okay. Now, these are pigments, and most of the pigments are transparent. And so that's why I used them here with the black cell activator. I didn't want to have an opaque color here yet. So with that, we'll put that down. I'll blow it out. All right. And let me add a few cells to wake up in the middle. All right. And I'm gonna let that collect a bit for a second, and then I'll spin it out. I'm getting a little hasty, which sometimes I do. But and sometimes you don't have to blow all the way out to the edge. You blow enough where it starts to make cells, you can let it collect, and it will start to develop. You don't have to blow it to death. I had to learn that lesson too. And by doing that, I feel like some of my cells and lacing had gotten a whole lot better with it. Okay, so now let me spin it out for good. So I'm gonna spin it out. And like I said, these will be skins, or I might just rinse them off. It depends on how they look. But this is just for experimentation purposes. All right, so that did kind of what I wanted to do. And so when you understand what's going on, that's why I want to share this video. You can have a measure of control over your blends. So I had to get my little spatula. So that's dry right there. Doesn't matter because I'm gonna peel it off anyway and use that as a skin. So I'm gonna pop this up. I just want to show you. You see, that's the appearance of all that lacing with the black selectivator. And so you have that. Now, the next effect, let's say you want to do a similar thing, but you want, instead of wanting the lacing to recede, you want the lacing to advance. And so you want the lacing to look almost like spider webs. So you will try again. And this time you will, I'm putting the pillow paint down. I'm gonna go with the same order I did before. I'm gonna go with the copper, the peacock feather, and the tempting tulip. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to use a double cell activator. So I'll use the black cell activator, but not so much black. So a little black. And then I'll put a titanium white cell activator on top of it. And that's going to border the white. The black's going to border the white. And so it's going to give it that 3D effect to it. I'll let that collect a little bit. right? And then I'm gonna spin this out. You'll see where the cell activator looks like it's protruding above as opposed to behind the colors. So again, because I'm using a double and I'm using the white on top, it's going to give me that effect of the cell activator having more of that protruding webbing effect. Now granted, like I said, these are tiles, and I'm just doing a few experiments, so you'll see the parts that I'm speaking of in here. So now, and this is for most of the beginners, not the pros already know these little things, but I'm just showing this for those who are new to doing blooms. But you can see how the cell activator now becomes a lighter cell activator, and it makes it protrude and stick out more 3D above the other colors. But it helps when you give it a dark border. Just right, put the darker color underneath. Whether it's a cell activator or a small amount of a darker color, and you put the white cell activator on top, the white will carry that color and make a nice 3D effect. So that's that one. Now, one of my favorite effects is when the cells themselves seem to have a ring around the cells. So how do I do that? Well, let's try a different color palette. So we're going to try white, down first. Then I'm going to go with maybe 4 colors this time. I'm gonna go with a little bit of a key line for a backdrop. Followed by Tempting Tulip. It's like a hot pink magenta, but that's what it's called by Color Art. Followed by Boysenberry. Dark. Now, all 3 of these are pigments. Now, you have a nice opaque color, and that's one of the keys. And I have this in this aqua. This is an opaque aqua. And instead of going black cell activator white, I'm gonna go white cell activator, then black. Because the white will begin to, because it's thinner, will begin to absorb some of this blue of the aqua. And then the black will sink down in between. And as it blows out, it will make these cells that has this circular appearance. So now I got the black cell activator there. I hope this works out the way I'm explaining it. I don't feel like a fool if it doesn't. All right. Take my straw, blow some of this out in the middle. me let that collect for a second. As it collects, sometimes the black on top of the white will leave little freckles, but as it collects back together, all the color collect back together at the same time too. But this is an example of when I say the cells get these little borders around them, which are so striking. It's one of my favorite effects. But you have to give the cell activator enough time to come back together before you spin it. That's one of the main keys. But as it comes back together, you'll get this wonderful effect of these cells, and each one of the cells has this lighter ring around it. Kind of like the difference between the way this is. This has a little bit of copper in the middle. It does have a 3D effect, but this doesn't have, each cell doesn't have a ring around it. However, on this one, the cells have a light ring around it. And this one I really like. I'm gonna do something in that palette. Already decided. Here's another one that also has the light rings around it too. So, but I like that bright blue against that black. And then you have that purple in the middle. Well, that is fabulous. So let me spin this out. I was trying to give that more time to collect, but it doesn't matter. My point is being made. And again, okay, I'm not gonna spin this anymore, but pop this up for a second. So you see how now you see that blue border around those cells, those blue rings. Just because I added an opaque, but I added it directly under the cell activator. Not in the middle of the layers, but directly under the cell activator. So if you want that to happen like that, you should put it directly under your cell activators, like your last color before you add your cell activator. All right, so now I'm going to do the same color palette again, but instead of using the blue, I'm going to use a transparent color, because maybe that will help it absorb these other colors. Who knows? This is all an experiment. It's not gospel. Don't quote me. I'll tell you what, I'll use the copper and the green. I'll still use this, but instead of using it directly under the cells, I'll put a little bit of the opaque blue in the middle, which will still give another effect. Okay, then the purple, then a little bit of a tempting tulip on top of the purple, and then a white cell activator. No black. still think I just put too much on it just now. For adding an extra bit. Why? Get some of that out of there. Perhaps. Okay, so I pull some out. All right. Don't pull your love out on me, baby. All right, this good, right there. So now let's spit it out. I mean, blow it out. Okay, now some of the pink is actually working a little bit because I used a transparent color, so now it's more pink than white, so I should have put it over a transparent color, and as it sits, it still absorbs more of the pink. So now you see that it's not quite as white as it is. But man, I love the way that turned out. Especially this little section right here, there's some glow of blue right in there, of that opaque blue. That is nice. So when you add an opaque color in the middle of it, it still can add another thought, another dimension to what you're doing as you're stacking your colors. It helps to put an opaque somewhere in the middle of your layers. And this is a learning process for me too. I'm not a master. I just love to experiment on these pours. Okay, so let's spin it out. Looks like it collected. It's moving. Yeah. Okay. Let's spin it out. Oh, okay. All right, spin it one more time. Sometimes when you have a little bit of paint on your canvas or on your tile, you have to spin it a whole lot faster than you would a canvas with a thicker pillow. It's not a lot of pillow on here, so you gotta spin a little bit faster to make sure it spreads. Okay. So this one has a light pink color for the lightning part of it. But when I was talking about that blue, I want you to look at this section right here when I pull it up. Okay, now look at that section there. That is fabulous. Did you see how now everything turned pink? Even though I didn't use pink as a cell activator. Now it's not as dark as it seems on the camera. I'm looking at it at a different angle, but it still is pink. This is a light pink, but it's not white anymore. I just wanted to show that to you. I'll show you these different techniques. So I'm gonna put this down where I'm drying it, and we'll bring the camera down to show you what all four look like. All right, folks. This is the one we just finished. This is the last one with the pink. I just used the white cell activator over transparent pigment, and it turned everything pink. Look at that blue that's showing through from the opaque aqua that's in there. Nice. okay? And then this was the second one that had those rings in it, with the blue rings around each cell. And that was caused by the opaque color, whether it's blue or pink or whatever light opaque color you want it to be, is directly under the cell activators. But I also used a white cell activator to lighten it up a little bit more, followed by a black cell activator. So that's how I got that effect there. So see the difference between that effect and this effect. And you have your 3D effect right here. Let me not let my cord fall in there. So there's the 3D effect on that webbing, with the black down first, then the white. Or black down and then another color that's lighter than the black will give you that webbing effect. And then this is just the all black webbing effect. So it's all black with all that lacy like that. So there you have it, folks. 4 different ways in which you can layer your cell activators along with your colors to get different effects of the blues. So I hope this helps, and thank you for watching, and happy pouring. Good night.